This is AndyTube. If you've watched a few of my videos, you may have heard me mention that I live in the Phoenix metropolitan area of the state of Arizona in the United States of America. And right now we're in our monsoon season, what the weather people call monsoon. It's the middle of August, and the Phoenix metro area is also called the Valley of the Sun, and it is a very flat valley surrounded by mountains, and it's not always sunny. And we're seeing a lot of advertisements like this on TV now. So I wanted to show you this just to I thought you might get a kick out of this, to see information about our monsoon.
With a flash of lightning and a roar of thunder,
the monsoon heralds its arrival in Arizona.
Dust storms roam the deserts, turning day into night.
Rain bombs explode over the landscape, producing microburst winds and torrential rain.
Flash flooding catches drivers unaware as first responders rush to save them.
And it seems at times there's lightning everywhere.
The time to prepare for monsoon 2019 is now.
So there you go. That's some quick clips about it. And here is a good picture from a helicopter taken from south to north over part of the Phoenix metro area, showing one of our dust storms. And I have seen these storms a mile high and several miles wide. And they can come on quickly and fiercely. And it's kind of a standing joke here in the valley. Is it sandy dirt that we have here, or is it just dirty sand? But these storms come and they hit quickly. Usually they don't last too long, 15 minutes to an hour. But when they come, if you're on the road, you can run, but you can't really hide. And what you want to do is get off the road and turn off your lights on the car if you're in a car, and keep your foot off the brake pedal so somebody who's still driving doesn't think that they're following you and run into you. If you're inside, you stay there. If you're not in a car and you're outside, you find shelter wherever you can. And they can come up, it just seems like out of the clear blue sky. If you see how clear and blue the sky is over here, but they just can come up quickly. And you see this one has lightning. There's rain with a rainbow, big clouds. It's very windy already, believe me. And all that wind often does damage like this. Here's a poor fellow whose big 40 or 50-year-old tree in front of his house was ripped right out of the ground and smashed into his roof, breaking his roof open. Now, there wasn't any rain with this dust storm, which could have caused even more damage in the house. But seeing small trees and even huge trees blown over is not uncommon during and after one of these dust storms. Now, the meteorologists call them haboobs and microburst, and what you're looking at here, the last couple of years, they've been calling a rain bomb, where the rain just comes straight down, heavy, and it usually doesn't last long, 10 to 30 minutes, but it drops a lot of rain very quickly. And in this area where I live, our average annual rainfall, we get about 8 inches a year. That's it. So if you have one of these rain bombs hit in your area, you can get 1.5 inches in a half hour. and that's like 12.5% of the annual rainfall in a half hour, more or less. And these kind of storms usually happen more in the afternoon, but also in the very late evening. And again, you can see how widespread that rain bomb is, or microburst, and it comes straight down. And these can do a lot of damage to homes and property, and they're dangerous. Now, we also have some horrific lightning storms with thousands of lightning strikes per hour across the whole valley here. And storms like this happen in other places in the state of Arizona, not just in the Phoenix metro area. But boy, I wish I would have taken that shot. Isn't that beautiful? A big giant saguaro cactus backlit like that. But anyway, unfortunately, of course, these can cause flooding, that fast downpour, and the water doesn't sink in very good in the desert and tends to run. And there's a lot of dry washes and low areas, and whole neighborhoods can be flooded pretty quickly, unfortunately. And this is also a fairly common sight where this is the one of our main highways, 10, and you see that beneath the overpass it's all flooded. Now they have pumps there, but the pumps often are just overloaded and burn out, or the desert debris, rocks and pieces of cactus and twigs and vegetable matter gets washed in and clogs the drains and so forth. And you see cars floating around on the highway. Now, that was some information about Arizona here, but flooding happens all over the United States. This is a sad picture of New Orleans, Louisiana, United States, from 2005, after Hurricane Katrina hit the Gulf Coast and caused so much rain when it came on land that it washed out about 50 levees, and huge parts of New Orleans were flooded for days. And you see they're very low. Some parts of it are below sea level, and that's what these levees were doing. And the pumps couldn't keep up with it, couldn't get it out. But the United States, of course, isn't the only flooding that's done. It happens all over the world. There's hurricanes and typhoons and heavy rainpour all over the world. And streets everywhere can get flooded, and towns and fields and houses. Sometimes it's very quick, and the small narrow streets can get filled up so fast it's like a river running down through there. And the homes get flooded all over the world, homes and businesses, and you see some rescue people out here. I don't know, maybe getting people out of a flooded house. Also common all over the world. And some people just rescue themselves. Here's a couple of young men just casually riding a bicycle down a flooded street of their town. And some more flooded neighborhoods and flooded streets, and it makes you feel sorry for all the not only property damage in people's houses and cars, but also the loss of life that can happen from this kind of flooding and flash flooding. Now, here's a young couple getting out of town in the rainstorm on their motorcycle, probably trying to get home or get to higher ground. You can see it's starting to flood pretty good. And I will take you back here now to Arizona, because this is another fairly common sight. This is a highway, again 10, between Phoenix and Tucson. and there's this big wide median between the east and westbound highways, and you see a car here that just got washed right off the road into the median, and of course it floods, and now the car is buried up to its grill in mud. And it made me think, oh, how can that car be rescued? You know, can it be taken out of there and made good again and work again, or is it just taken down to parts, or is it a total loss, or what happens? And all of this flooding, when I was thinking about this, it made me think all over the world how many thousands or millions of sewing machines have been in a flood, and how many were lost and never recovered, and could you recover a sewing machine? Here's a picture of a machine that got flooded, and the people didn't really know how long it was underwater or anything, but I happened to catch the picture off of a blog, and it made me think about some more about you know, wet or flooded machines. And I figure the mechanical part in the machine, that I could rescue that, I think, because if you see some of my cleaning videos, you know, I get them wet. I use a chemical degreaser and spray them with the hose or the shower handle, and then blow them dry with a leaf blower and stuff like that. Of course, they're not underwater, you know, and they're not exposed to water a long time, 10 minutes or so, but I thought maybe it was doable, but I had never thought before about a motor, a sewing machine motor. So let's go over to my work table, and we'll talk some more about that. So here is a motor I just recently bought from thriftyfarmgirl.com, and she pulled it out of a Singer Model 413, and it's a very common type of internal motor where it mounts like this inside the upright, you know, and has a pulley for the motor belt to go up to the hand wheel, and it's got an adjustment bolt here that fastens it, and a little pin comes down in the body, a nylon pin into the hole here to hold the top. But it's a beautiful motor. I mean, man, it's in great shape. And as a matter of fact, let me hook up some wires to it here, and I'll just plug it in and we can see it run. I'm really happy about this. You know, she only wanted $15 for this. I was like, yeah, I'll take that. Okay, let's see. By the way, she told me that she's thinking about selling off her inventory and getting out of the business. And I think she's going to be moving and changing households and stuff. And you know, if that's what she's doing in her life, I'm happy for her. But man, I was sad because I bought so many parts from her over the years. She's like my favorite seller. But she said she had something like parts from 145 machines, and she was just going to hopefully find one buyer and sell them off. So if you're interested in starting a parts business, boy, you have an instant inventory there. Her name's Connie at thriftyfarmgirl.com. But let's plug this in here, and I don't have a rheostat on it, so it's just going to kind of go full when I turn it on. So you see in that blue sparking in there, that's the brushes on the commutator there. And so that's why, like, when I work on a machine, I clean and polish the commutator and stuff like that. But you see what's going on there. So anyway, it's still a beautiful motor, and that commutator can be cleaned and stuff. And I've just recently heard about a method new to me, but I guess it's been around a while, of cleaning that commutator in there, and getting those brushes to sit better, so you get even more power. But I want to show you some slides of this. I already dismantled it once because I wanted to show you some of the internal parts, so you see how intricate a motor like this is. And I mean, there's probably millions of motors like this and similar to this in sewing machines all over the world. I think this, I'm not sure if this is an SNK2 or SNK4. But let me show you these slides. So is that cool or what? Looking in there, what I wanted to show you, you know, the windings in there, and think about all the places that water could get in there, and I wondered what kind of damage it would do. And then I showed you a close-up of one of the carbon motor brushes, and I wondered about those. You know, if those got exposed to water for any length of time and mud or whatever, could those be saved, or would you have to you know, trash them out and try and find new motor brushes? And living here in the Arizona desert all my life and seeing a lot of flash flooding, I started thinking about what goes on, what ends up in all of these washes and in the water when it floods, because the rainwater itself comes out pretty pure, just water, and it's soft too. But if it's flying around in a dust storm, it probably gets pretty dirty. But when it hits the desert floor and starts running, it can definitely pick up a lot of dirt and rock, you know. So I thought, okay, so I'm going to have water, and around where I live, I'm going to have some kind of mud or gunk in there, you know. And then I thought, well, there's also going to be a lot of decayed vegetation and leaves, and who knows, chemicals maybe, like oil from the street and things like that. You know, when the water runs through a street like that, there's always the carbon black, what I call carbon black, from the tires. You know, if you've ever changed a tire, you see how dirty your hands get from that. So I thought, man, who knows what could be in there? There could just be all kinds of muck and stuff in a flood, you know. And then think of that getting inside a sewing machine, and especially inside of a motor. And once I started thinking about that, I couldn't get it out of my mind. So I hope you'll join me next time when I find out, can a wet, flooded sewing machine motor be saved? Dun dun dun. Well, there we go. I hope I don't regret this, but I have to find out. Let me top it off here. And then what I'm thinking is I'm going to leave this in here for about 24 hours. Right? And then open it up and see what we can do with it. Get it nice and mixed up here. Man. Whee! Let's take a look at it just for the heck of it. Uh-oh. Oh yeah, what a mess. It already looks pretty bad, doesn't it? But we'll find out. If I'm out 15 bucks, then I am. But I got a feeling that I can get it to work again. So anyway, I hope that you will turn in. I tried to make that dramatic, as you can tell. I'm not real good at that, but hopefully it piqued your interest enough that you'll take a look at it when I release the video. Can a wet sewing machine motor be saved? Don't miss it. Take care.